Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 10th of July and welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. Guys, in the video, we'll take the entire analysis of the Hindu with the background as well as the way forward. And I would also like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel. The link for Telegram is given in description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, guys, let's see the overview of entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. So here we have the first page, and the first page we have objections overruled. So the article is talking about the forest amendment bill. We'll take what the article is actually talking about. Then after that, moving on, we have the advertisements in city section, the regional issues, government shut down the schools and all such kind of things have been given. Not much important for the examination. However, here we have one article, turtles help clean the Ganga. We'll take this particular article with respect to our examination. Then further moving on, again we have these advertisements and the regional political issues. Then we come to the editorial section. The first article is talking about the Unbhagya fiasco. We'll see this particular article with respect to the examination. Now guys, here the side article is talking about the recent issue where the Gujarat High Court has upheld the conviction of Rahul Gandhi in the defamation case. Okay, so the article is talking that the Gujarat High Court has created this particular kind of a perception that defamation is a horrific crime. Guys, this particular issue have become more politicized, so that political dimension is not important for the exam. Here, restoring the World Trade Organization's crown jewel. We'll see this particular article. Side article, US has decided to send cluster munitions to Ukraine. Now, basically it is saying that USA directly sending the weaponry to Ukraine is giving an indication for the continuation of the war, which is not ethical, not moral. Okay, then on the next page, Modi's ruble-wise rupee foolish policy. We'll see this particular article with respect to the exam. The Congress is showing sign of revival in Andhra Pradesh. The political article. No need to go too much in detail in this. Then text and context. So this article is talking about the Threads platform that has recently been launched by the Meta. This Threads platform will be the rival to the Twitter. Okay. So basically the article is talking about that how similar is Thread and Twitter and all such kind of things. Now understand this particular thing that you are not required to go too much in detail in this particular kind of a direction where you will be doing the comparison that okay, Twitter was more more descriptive, now the Thread is more audio and visual, basically text and visuals more would be focused, all these things. One more thing guys I want to tell you here is that a lot of YouTube videos would now be made and will say that okay, they will do the entire analysis of this Threads platform. These things are not useful for your examination. Just see the trend of questions that have been asked. You just need to understand, or you have to take one takeaway guys here, is that one thing: the social media intermediaries such as Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, their growth has now become stable. Okay, because a large number of user base that they would have collected already, they have got that. So now they want the same users to use the multiple platforms. So therefore they are giving the multiple options. So already the people who are using Facebook, Instagram, they will also come on the Threads. Okay, so then next, design education will take this particular article. Moving on guys, army officers say Manipur operation challenging. Okay, then guys we have these political statements etc. Basically the NCP issue in Maharashtra etc. No need to go too much in detail in these kind of an issues. Here we have one article that is the report on impact of a report on pandemic's impact on education. We'll take this particular report. Then on the world page, Yellen says her Beijing visit helps put US-China relation on surer footing. Okay, BBC suspends a staff member. Okay, now first of all guys, on international page you need to see those articles which will have an impact on the Indian interest or will be related to the foreign policy of India. Okay, then today we don't have the business page. It is because on Monday we have this money wise page which contains the advice related to investment, more portfolios etc. The article is not important for our examination. Then guys we have the sports page, and towards the last after the sports page we have this science page which contains the article on global tropical primary forest cover. We'll take this. So this is guys all about this particular article, newspaper overview, and now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Okay, so guys, this is the synoptic notes that I was telling you that you can download. In every class, we start with the GS quotation. So today we'll take the quotation from the Oprah Winfrey. So Oprah Winfrey says that education is the key to unlock the world. It is the passport to freedom. So education is the passport to freedom because education makes one a free thinker. So when education will come, a person will become a free thinker, and when a person would be free thinker, a person would be able to break the shallow templates of prejudices, stereotypes, which often restrict one's thinking, one's imagination. So education helps us to think beyond what our shallow templates or our shallow notions are. Education is passport to freedom. Why? Because often because of the education we can gain our economic mobility, social mobility, political mobility also. So there can be the many dimensions in which this particular quote could be interpreted. So that is about it. And now let's take the first article for the today. In Varanasi, turtles help clean the Ganga. Now, this particular article we can take with respect to the GS paper number 3, environment, within environment, water pollution, and the remedies or the treatments to treat the water pollution. Okay, so there we can see this article. This article can also be asked as an applied aspect in our prelims examination also. Now, understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about India, in India, we have approximately 29 species of turtles. We have approximately 29 species of turtle. Some of them are carnivorous, some of them are herbivorous. Okay. So now basically at the same time guys, understand this thing, that when we talk about the river pollution, it has become a very big problem, and even the river Ganga is facing the problem of pollution. And to clean the river Ganga, since 2014, Namami Gange program is going on. Under the Namami Gange program, we aim to clean the Ganga and the courses of the Ganga river. And in this particular direction, National Mission for Clean Ganga has been established. National Mission for Clean Ganga has been established. Now, what is this National Mission for Clean Ganga? It is the mission, as well as it is playing the role of an agency which is bringing the state level organizations, center level organizations together, so that all can come and can devise the policy to clean the Ganga. Okay, so basically point emissions, okay, unpoint emissions, okay, they or the pointed sewage into the Ganga, unpointed sewage into the Ganga that is flowing, it will be identified and it would be controlled by the National Mission for Clean Ganga. Now guys, many of the strategies are being used to clean the Ganga. However, now also the turtle's role is being used here. So what has happened? Wildlife Institute of India and Ministry of Forest, they have come together along with the National Mission for Clean Ganga. So these three organizations have come together and they are running a turtle breeding and rehabilitation center in the Varanasi and Uttar Pradesh. In this turtle breeding and rehabilitation center, there will be 12 species of turtle that will be bred, and then these 12 species of turtle would be left into the Ganga river and they will be cleaning the Ganga river. How they will be cleaning the Ganga river? Understand this particular thing also. For example, guys, in Varanasi, we have the ghats on which the dead bodies are basically there. We have the ghats where the dead bodies are cremated, and often the half burned dead bodies, they flow into the Ganga river. Many number of times animal carcasses, animal dead bodies, they also flow into the Ganga river, and they also are a big polluter. Now many of these turtle species, they will eat that flesh, they will thrive on that flesh. Many of them, they are also consuming a lot of pollutants, and by that particular thing they are cleaning the Ganga. So when we talk about these turtles, they clear the rotten, half burnt dead bodies. Also the flowers that are dumped into the river, they consume these flowers also, and by this particular thing they improve the condition of the Ganga river. And it has been seen that wherever these turtles were released into the Ganga river, they have improved the biochemical oxygen demand, Okay, they have also improved the fecal coliform. Okay, so fecal coliform, it is fecal coliform's strain has been reduced. Okay, dissolved oxygen levels have been improved. Even the river's pH level, the acidic nature of the river, which often gets increased because of a lot of pollutants, a lot of sewage that is released, that is also being normalized by the presence of these turtles. So these turtles are basically, these turtles will play a very important role. So basically, how the nature can be used to clean the nature, this is an example in this particular direction. Moreover, the exact impact as how they are contributing, that would be known in the years to come. Okay, but as of now, this is a very important case study. And guys, this is better that how, as far as using the natural remedies, fine, cleaning the river, it is the most cost effective and it is going to be the far reaching initiative. Okay, so that is about it. Now the next article, design education in India, its origin, challenges and opportunities. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues related to the education and within education, the higher education within GS paper number 2. Now, basically, first of all, guys, let's understand that what is the meaning of this particular word, design education. So under now, the design education is a formal discipline which includes a lot of things. For example, industrial design. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that machine. Okay, basically suppose I need to make a machine for soldering, I need to make a machine or I need to make a robot. That robot, that machine's design has to be such that it needs to be the maximum efficient. It takes a less and less of space, less space it should take, it should be more efficient. Okay, heat dissipation should also be countered. So for that thing, a specific type of design is to be made. So there can be industrial design, there can be fashion design, there can be interior design, there can be landscape design. Okay, a lot of aspects of design could be there. For example, the clothes that you are wearing, it is fashion design. The home in which you are living, there is interior design. Industries have industrial design. So there are the specific type of people, there are specific type of people who specialize in the design, and we call them as the design graduates. Now if you see in India, we have the architectural institutions, we have engineering institutions, we have medical institutions, but the design institutions which are producing the design graduates, that is very much less. And guys, if we talk about the condition of India, India is facing a huge shortage of the designers, industrial designers, landscape designers. Okay, in interior and in fashion, we have well good supply of the designers, but in other aspects of design, particularly the industrial design, designers are very much less. And if we take, there is only one design graduate that India produces for every 1000 engineers. For every 1000 engineers, only one design graduate is graduated. Now when we talk about the design education, first of all, neither people have the knowledge about the design as a discipline, nor there are the institutions which are providing the specific education for the design. Now when we talk about, guys, India, there was the National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad that was founded in 1961, and it stayed as the only institution for design education for large for a few years. Industrial Design Center was then developed at IIT Bombay in 1969, and these were the two institutions which were providing the education into the design. Okay, so point is that when we have only few institutions providing the design education, how they will produce the large number of graduates? Okay, however, what happened in 2007, government came with the national design policy and recognized that we need to provide the we will be needing a lot of designers for industries, for many other aspects, and we have to have the designers. So therefore, it created the India Design Council in 2009, and this India Design Council since then has started to provide education with respect to the design education. It also is ensuring that large number of institutions for the design education should be there. Now guys, we have few number of design institutions, and if I tell you guys, now the new universities that are being formed, they are also recognizing the importance of the design education. Here I want to give you some of the example, guys. For example, yes, for example, recently we have seen that private universities such as the Shiv Nadar University, Jindal Global University, and Flame University. All of them have launched the undergraduate program in the design education. So now in the design education we are focusing, but still the number of the design graduates have been very much less. Okay. Now, guys, when we talk about the data with respect to the design graduates, according to All India Survey of Higher Education, now All India Survey of Higher Education, according to their 2011-12 report, only 3,385 students were enrolled into the undergraduate degree. Now, you are not required to remember this number by heart, but when we compare the data with 2020-2021, today more than 40,000 students are enrolled into the design courses. So we see that more than 10 times jump has been there. So this is good, but guys, still we need to produce more and more design engineers, more and more design graduates. Even when we talk about the National Institution of Design Ahmedabad, okay, and other places, for example IIT Bombay, which are running the design courses, they admit very few number of students. So supply is very much less. There is the shortage of designers. Even the next thing that is there is that the design engineers that we have, or design graduates that we have, even they are not being used properly. So right now India need to take the immediate step so that we open more institution providing the design education. We need to sensitize the people that they should choose the design education as their undergraduate degree. Okay, and their skill sets are also needed to be improved. As of now we have focused on two areas: interior design and fashion design. We need to move to the industrial design also. So this is all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. And now moving to the next article. Okay, report highlights impact of pandemic on education. Now, so basically guys, recently the Ministry of Education has released a report, and this article therefore we will use for GS paper number 2, education, within the education, the reports, indicators, etc. for the education will use this particular article. So basically what has happened, so Ministry of Education has recently come out with this performance grading index for districts report. Now this report for the 2 year has been released, 2020-2021 and 21-2022. Now this particular report assesses the performance of the different districts on the education parameter, and the districts, they are classified into the 10 categories. What are these 10 categories? Daksh. So Daksh is the classification to the topmost districts in the education. So there is a Daksh, then after the Daksh there is Utkarsh, then there is Ati Uttam, then there is Uttam, then there is Pracheshta, then the Pracheshta 2, Pracheshta 3, Akanshi 1, okay, Akanshi 2, Akanshi 3. So Akanshi 3 is given to the districts that have scored the poorest in terms of the education. So basically we are categorizing the districts into the 10 categories, and the Daksh is the highest or the best kind of classification that is given. This particular thing you need to use for the exam, and the Akanshi is the lowest. Daksh highest, Akanshi is the lowest. Please remember these things for your prelims examination. Now guys, when we talk about this particular report that has been released, the PGI report, first of all, no district has been able to come in the Daksh or the Utkarsh category. That is the first and the second. No district in India had come. However, few districts are there which have actually been able to come into the Ati Uttam category, and the Chandigarh has come into the Ati Uttam category. Some of the districts of Delhi, Gujarat, also Maharashtra also have come into the Ati Uttam category, but Daksh and Utkarsh, no district has come. One thing I want to tell you guys here, that you are not required to remember all the districts that we are following in which category. Okay. Now, when we talk about this PGID report, okay, how this PGID report would be helpful? So basically, when we talk about this PGID report, which divides the institution into the 10 categories, how the report is calculated? First of all, you need to understand this particular thing. So basically guys, under this report, there are 83 indicators divided in 6 categories under which the educational institutions are ranked. Now, what are these 6 indicators? I will tell you. Six categories that are tell you: outcomes, effective classroom transaction, okay, how well the teacher is teaching, how well the students are learning, infrastructure and student entitlement, school safety, child protection, digital learning and governance processes. So under these six parameters, the districts are ranked, and then they are given the category Uttam, Ati Uttam, Daksh, etc. So basically a district can know that where they are lacking, whether the outcomes are poor, whether the effective classroom transaction, classroom teaching is not there, whether infrastructure is not proper. So the districts can know whether where they are lacking, and by that they can reform that area and can improve their ranking. So guys, this is a very good example of competitive competitive federalism. Okay, the districts will compete with each other and will improve and will perform better and better. Okay, so a positive and a constructive competition will come. Then further, moving to the next article, global tropical primary forest cover continued to decline unabated in 2022. Okay, so this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, issues related to the environment. Issues related to the environment. Okay, now, so basically guys, what has happened? So in this particular article, we are going to take the Global Forest Watch report. Global Forest Watch report. Who released this particular report? This report is released by the World Research Institute. World Research Institute. And this particular report provides this particular thing, that we have lost a large number of tropical forests. So according to this report, around 4.1 million hectare of the forest cover has been lost in 2022. Now what is 4.1 million hectare? It means that we are losing the forest equivalent of 11 football fields every 1 minute. So every 1 minute, 11 football fields 11 football fields of forest are being lost. This is huge. And the more problem is that, guys, that the majority of the forest, 4.1 million hectares of the forest that have been lost, majority of them are the primary forest. Now what are the primary forest? Primary forest are the mature forest which have been there for hundreds and hundreds of years, which not got disturbed into the recent history. For example, the Amazon forest, those forests are there for thousands of the years and have not been disturbed. And these primary forests, they actually store more carbon than the other forest. For example, I grow a forest in 100 acre of land. After 20 years, that forest will grow, trees will become big, but that 100 acre of land will never be the equivalent of the primary forest 100 acre of land. It will store, primary forest will store more carbon. Okay, so primary forest lost, it is irreversible in nature. Fine, even you grow secondary forest, it will never be able to compensate them. And because of the primary forest that we have lost, or total forest that we have lost, it has produced around 2.7 billion ton of carbon dioxide emission, which is equal to India's annual emission due to combustion of fossil fuels. Now you will say that how it created the carbon emission. Guys, understand this thing. If these trees would not have been cut, they have absorbed the carbon, but now they have been cut, so they will not absorb the carbon. So that carbon which will not be absorbed, it is like a new carbon emission that got added into the world. So in this particular way, they are deadly. In this particular way, this development is deadly. Now guys, when we talk about the primary forest, so Brazil, because of the Amazon forest that they have, so Brazil had a large number of the primary forest, and there the destruction has happened. So the rate of primary forest cover loss rate in the Brazil, it has increased by 15% compared to 2021. Now guys, World Research Institute has actually taken two goals to conserve the forest. Goal number 1 is to end the deforestation by 2030, and goal number 2, restore 350 million hectares of lost and degraded forest by 2030. These two goals have been taken. So we need to stop deforestation and we need to regrow the forest. But both of these particular targets are not getting fulfilled. Rather, deforestation is going up and restoration is going down. So opposite is happening. Now guys, if we want to reach the target, that has been taken up by the World Research Institute. World need to increase tree cover by 22 million hectare per year. 22 million hectare per year forest cover has to be increased and deforestation has to be stopped. But that is not happening. And even when we talk about India, India lost 43.9 thousand hectares of humid primary forest. So India also lost the primary forest, okay, which is huge. So guys, we need to take the collective efforts on the global scale as well as Indian stage, so that we can reverse this particular thing. Because if the forests are lost, it will further lead to a lot of carbon emission which will go untapped. Even India has taken the pledge that we will become the carbon neutral nation by 2070. How the carbon neutrality will be achieved if India is not going to stop the forest cut that is happening? Okay. Now, moving to the next article. So this particular article, guys, we will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, government policies with respect to the with respect to the forest, as well as we will also take this for GS paper number 3, because again the theme of forest environment is there. Let's first of all discuss that what the article is actually talking about. So basically, guys, if you please come on this particular picture, if you focus here. So basically we have the Forest Conservation Act of 1980. Forest Conservation Act of 1980. And this Forest Conservation Act of 1980 talks about that the forests are to be protected. It has some of the provisions. Let me tell you these particular provisions first of all, and then we will move beyond. First of all, it provides, number one, okay, we'll not read this, we'll read this. It provides that the areas within 100 kilometers of the international border or areas within 100 kilometers of the line of control, no forest, just a minute, listen. Just a minute. Okay. So, as we talk about the Forest Conservation Act 1980, Forest Conservation Act 1980 provides the protection to the forest. Number one, the area which is the forested, it cannot be cleared, it cannot be diverted to the non-forest purposes without giving some compensatory fund. For example, if I want to clear the forest, then first of all, it is not possible. Only in the certain exceptions I will be allowed to clear the forest. And under those exemptions, I need to provide some compensatory afforestation. For example, if I am clearing the forest here, at other place I have to lay down, I have to establish more forest. Now, this Forest Conservation Act, it also empowers the center to require that any should be duly compensated. Already we have discussed. Moreover, it also provided this particular thing, that the land which is not officially classified as forest in the state government record, union government record, those particular places also are to be protected. Now suppose this is the forest, classified forest. Now this is particular region which is not classified as the forest, but we need to protect this particular region also to protect this forest. Now such areas are also to be protected as per the Forest Conservation Act. So this act has been a very powerful to protect the forest in India. Now government is bringing a bill to amend this 1980 Forest Conservation Act. And this particular bill was criticized a lot by the activists. So therefore this particular bill was sent to the parliamentary committee. This parliamentary committee has now said that there is no problem. This particular bill could be introduced into the parliament and it could be passed. So we will now understand that what were those problematic provisions due to which the activists were criticizing this particular bill. So we will take that. So meanwhile, the joint committee, it has taken the suggestions from the ministries, states such as Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Telangana. Now these are the states which have a lot of forest cover. So these states have criticized this bill. So the parliamentary committee says that okay, we have taken their inputs, but there is no problem. The bill will now be introduced into the parliament. Now, first of all, guys, what was the problem with respect to this particular bill? The problem with respect to this particular bill was this. It was said that it is going against the Supreme Court's 1996 judgment into the Godvarman case. Now, what is this Godvarman case? In this case, Supreme Court provided that even those particular places are to be protected which are not recorded as the forest. Okay, the protection was provided, but this particular amendment is removing that. It provides that only the forest are to be protected which are not recorded as forest. On that, development project infrastructure can be brought. So therefore, it is going against this Godvarman judgment of 1996. Then next thing, basically this particular bill is also coming out with this provision. It is also coming out with provision that we can construct highways, hydel power project, or any such infrastructure project into the 100 kilometers of the international border around the LOC. Now understand this thing, guys. If you remember, earlier we have discussed that government is coming out with the many scheme. For example, the Vibrant Village program. Under the Vibrant Village programs, the villages that are onto the northern borders, their infrastructure will be developed. Moreover, because China is developing their border villages, we also want to develop the border villages. So for that, infrastructure will be required. But the bill provides that particular thing. But the forest activists are saying that because of this particular thing, a large number of forest will get disturbed. Then the next problem that comes here is that this bill's name is also being changed. So this bill's name is being changed to Van Sanrakshan Evam Samvardhan Adhiniyam, okay, which is a Hindi translation, and it is being said that it is non-inclusive for the people from South India, Northeast India, because they will not be understanding the Hindi in much of the cases. So this particular bill is problematic. The next thing that has come here, guys, is that it encourages the practice of cultivating plantations on non-forested land. Okay, so you can bring the plantation of non-forested lands. Okay, this is good. Why? Because if the barren land, non-forested land, we will bring plantations, at the end of the day, it will improve, it will reduce the carbon emission. Those trees, plants will absorb the carbon. This is good. But the other things that we have seen, they are problematic, and this particular bill now will be presented. Now, one more thing, guys, that as of now, please don't go too much in detail of this particular bill, because it has just been approved by the parliamentary committee. Now the bill will come in parliament. In parliament, the debate, discussion, amendments will be moved. So final version, when it will be passed, then you need to see. Till then, no need to go too much in detail in this. Then moving, and we have this scheme, the Anya Bhagya, fiasco and thinking beyond rice. Now, this particular article, guys, we'll see with respect to the GS paper number 3, issues related to food security. Issues related to food security as well as the issues related to the agriculture. Okay. Now, from last few days, this particular issue is going on in the news. Now, guys, what has happened? So, the Karnataka government has come out with this Anya Bhagya scheme. The Karnataka government has come out with this Ann Bhagya scheme. Under this Ann Bhagya scheme, Karnataka government will provide up to 10 kg of food grains to the poor people. Now, as of now, under the National Food Security Act, government provides 5 kg food grain to per person. Karnataka government will provide 10 kg of free rice, per person. So doubling. Now, the article is saying, so this is the Karnataka government's proposal. Now, guys, understand this particular thing. The article is saying that first of all, Karnataka government is giving the rice, but they are not understanding one problem. The problem is that under the PDS, public distribution system, the food grains that are given to the people, largely they contain the cereals. There is one criticism that often the pulses, which are the rich source of protein, oil, which is the rich source of fat, they are not being given under the PDS scheme. Now the Karnataka, they are giving 5 kg extra rice. Now the rice is again the example of the cereal which gives the carbohydrates, Already we are giving wheat, we are giving rice, rich sources of carbohydrate. But what about protein, pulses? What about fat, oil? These things should have been added, but Karnataka government is not giving that. So first of all, their policy is not comprehensive. Secondly, guys, that it is saying that, see, earlier the central government has also announced that they will double the ration for the people. And under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, during the COVID, they did also. but they doubled the food only for those people who have the ration card. What about the people who don't have the ration card? There are large number of people in India who don't have any ration card. How they will get the food? Now guys, understand this thing. Even the National Food Security Act, under which people have the entitlement to get the 5 kg food grains, the National Food Security Act data was calculated on the basis of the 2011 census. Right now we are in 2023. So already the 12 years have happened since the last enumeration was done. And in these 12 years, many more people have come under poverty. They are not having the ration cards because their enumeration did not happen under the National Food Security Act. How they will get the food grain? So the National Food Security Act needs to enhance to as and also cover to the people who don't have ration card, but nobody is providing food to them. Now, basically guys, when we talk about the states, okay, so the National Food Security Act is not covering a large number of people because the data is based on 2011. Now the states out of their own budget provide the food grains to them, and for that the state governments buy the food grains from the Food Corporation of India under the open market sales scheme. Open market sales scheme, they buy the food from the Food Corporation of India, and many states such as the Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Tamil Nadu, they are buying the food grains from them. Now, when we talk about guys the open market sales scheme, this open market sales scheme recently has been amended and the limits have been imposed on the state government to with respect to the maximum food that they can avail. Now, because of this particular restriction, many of the states will not be able to procure the food and will not be able to give the food to those people who are not covered under National Food Security Act, the people who don't have the ration card. Now, when we talk about the Food Corporation of India, FCI, it procures food grain usually for three purposes. Number one, so that it can give food to the people under minimum, so that it can support the producers by taking the food from them under the minimum support price. Secondly, so that the food that will be procured, it could be given to the people under the PDS. And third, so that the food can be given under the OMSS. But now, this OMSS scheme has been amended. So basically guys, the article is saying this particular thing, that the Karnataka, which promised the 10 kg rice, it was thinking that it will take the food from OMSS, but the scheme has been amended. Now the Karnataka government is saying that for political purpose it is being done. But at the same time, we also need to question the Karnataka government that how you can completely rely on a center scheme for giving the food grains to the people. So this is something that was the shallow thinking that could have been there. So that is all guys about this particular article. Now moving to the next article. Now, the next article, Modi's ruble-wise rupee foolish policy. Now, the article is talking about guys recent issue where the yuan is becoming the global currency for the international trade. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2, international affairs. Okay. So basically guys, understand this thing, that when we talk about the right now in the world, there is a de-dollarization trend that is going on. De-dollarization means that the countries want to remove the dollar from the international currency that is used into the international trade. Today, all the international trade happens in the dollar. Now the countries want to remove dollar and want to replace the dollar with their own currency. India is trying to replace dollar with rupee. Same way, China is trying to replace the dollar with the yuan, and China is becoming successful also. So we see today that a large number of countries, for example, Argentina, Brazil, Bangladesh, they have started using the Chinese yuan in their international transactions. And Russia-Ukraine war has actually helped the Chinese yuan. How? Basically, guys, understand this particular thing, that China want to remove the US dollar from the international regime. Okay. Now, guys, what has happened as the Russia-Ukraine war started? USA imposed a lot of sanction on the Russia, and out of those sanctions, Russia cannot also accept the US dollar for the trade that Russia is doing. Now understand this thing, Russia is not a small country, Russia is a big country. Russia is a major exporter of oil, Russia is a major exporter of iron ore, Russia is a major exporter of food grains as well. At the same time, it is importer of the electric equipments. So Russia is a big country. Now Russia will not use dollar. but the trade with Russia will continue. For example, still India is buying oil from Russia, still China is doing a lot of trade from Russia. So how the trade will happen? So now the yuan is being used. So basically guys, yuan is being used, and at the same time India is helping the yuan. India is helping the yuan. How India is helping the yuan? We'll see this particular thing. Okay, now the article is saying that during the pandemic, Galwan Valley crisis came. And after this Galwan Valley crisis, India and China came on a brink of war. But still, because of the India's policy, rather than teaching China lesson, we are helping the Chinese yuan to become the global currency. Now how? Understand this thing. So basically guys, what happened? So as the war started, sanctions were imposed on Russia, and at the same time Russia also started to supply the oil at subsidized price. Now India want to buy the Russian oil, but how to buy Russian oil? We cannot give the dollar because of sanction. India wanted to give rupee. But Russia did not accept rupee. Why? Because Russia cannot use the same rupee with other country, because the acceptance of rupee is less. Secondly, Russia could use that particular rupee with India trade. For example, if Russia is buying wheat from India, Russia can give that particular rupee. But at the same time, there is a lot of deficit which goes on between the Russia rupee trade. We import more from Russia. So Russia will have a lot of rupee, cannot use that rupee with India, cannot use that rupee with the other countries. Thirdly, ruble can also not be used because of a lot of volatility that is going with respect to the Russia-Ukraine war. So the third alternative that came is the yuan, Chinese yuan. So guys, what is happening today? India is paying money to the Russia in terms of the Chinese yuan, and by this particular thing, India is increasing the acceptability of the Chinese yuan. So this is being said as a short-sighted geo-economic policy of India, which indirectly is strengthening the Chinese yuan at the world stage. Okay. So this is guys all about this particular article. Now moving to the next article. So we have this article. The article talks about restoring the WTO's crown jewel. Now guys, the article is talking about WTO. When we talk about the WTO, World Trade Organization, it is organization which resolves the disputes of the world countries onto the trade front. And under WTO, there is dispute settlement. There is this dispute settlement system that resolves the disputes between the two countries whenever a trade dispute will come. And under this DSS, there is the dispute settlement system, and then there is this dispute settlement system appellate body. But this appellate body is not functioning since 2019. Why it is not functioning? Because the United States have blocked the appointment of the members into the appellate body of the dispute settlement system. Why? Because the America says this particular thing, that this appellate body has taken up judicial overreach, it has exceeded its mandate, and many a number of times it has issued the binding orders it have issued. It has went against their mandate. Now, there is the political reason that why USA is withholding the elections here, because in the past WTO has given certain rulings which have went against the USA, and USA today, by using their power, is not allowing the elections to happen at DSS. So now you are not required to go too much in detail in this particular article, but there is only one line concept. Now all the editorials will not have only always the 2-page content. Sometimes they will have one content. For example, this can be used as an example that how the USA is using their clout for their political purposes. So there you can use it. Okay. And guys, now we'll come to the mains practice question for today. So question says, India, a $1 trillion trading nation, has a huge role to play in determining the new global currency order. In this context, discuss how India has been boxed out helping China in currency supremacy. GS paper number 2, 10 marker question, as well as in GS 3 also it can come. So that is all guys about today. With this we come to an end. I hope you have liked it. Thank you so much.